Hello and welcome back to the Ace the Odds podcast. We're back for the second week, and I'm your host Manny Friedman, along with my GBM partner
Brad Sloan.
and our Ace the Odds guest, sharp circle enthusiast, tailgate enthusiast, the GOAT, Smoothman Sports. Welcome back.
Oh, that's very, very kind. Thank you guys. I'm super happy to be back. Super happy that we're doing this for a second straight week. That is big time for the boys, and I'm excited to talk some ball.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I mean, before we get into it, it's been an incredible fortnight. That to me, one of my favorite slams I can remember. I mean, just the amount of five-set matches, the drama, the upsets. Like it's been incredible. Really has.
It feels kind of like an old school, like 2000 to 2003 era, like slam, like in the kind of in the era, like the pre-Federer era, back when you like when slams could be when you had different guys perform well on different surfaces and a little bit more like you had guys outside the top five actually making runs to finals and winning slams and things like that. So yeah, that's kind of my thought on it. I also wanted to say like I'm also like it's amazing like how much whining there was pre-tournament about all the withdrawals. And now all of a sudden you see everybody's like, "Oh, this has been great," blah blah blah. So it kind of, I don't know, like it's. I feel like people, people will always find something to whine about, and
It's
I
a good
feel
point.
like I'm kind of enjoying seeing all the whiners get like put back in their place.
So this pod will be kind of focused mainly on the semifinals, and obviously, while talking about the semis, we're going to tie in that kind of everything what's happened, and I'm sure it's going to come up in our discussion. But we want to make this a semifinal kind of centric podcast, and then next week we're going to dive deep into like a full recap of the tournament and um, everything else, and kind of look forward to grass. So. Um, Smooth. Let's start with you. I think let's start with the Zverev Mensik semifinal. What are your initial thoughts about the line and what you can expect for on Friday in that match?
Yeah, no, I'm happy. I'm happy to talk about this one. I'm already on Mensik. Actually, um, I think it's a terrific spot for the young Czech kid who has, for whatever reason, a excellent knack against the top 10. He's 10 and 10 against the top 10 over his career. Um, he's lost his Zverev, including this year in Madrid, but he did take a set off of him in a tiebreak. Um, Ultimately, though, this match, to me, this, sorry, someone just came into my house. Brad, if you want to talk about this
Yeah, I
one
can
for a
jump
second.
in. Yeah, I'll
Yeah,
jump
please.
in. Honestly, like I'm not as excited about this one. I don't think this is a great spot. I mean, like it's a great run for Mensik to get here. But and it'll be interesting to see how Zverev responds now that he's in a slam semi. This is kind of the area where we started to see him get affected by pressure. But other than that, I just don't know that I love this spot for him. I mean, Zverev's just I think he's just like a much more he's much more polished, and he's got a lot more tools in his bag than Mensik does. And I'm not really sure what Mensik does that much better than Zverev. Like Mensik's got a great backhand, Zverev's backhand is much better. Mensik's got a great serve. Honestly, Zverev's serve is probably equal. Uh, Zverev's return game is much better. Like I don't know what Mensik does that maybe he's more aggressive, like, and that gives him a chance. The fact that he's just a generally more aggressive player, and if Zverev falls back into his trap of being too defensive, he could be defeated. But even then, like Mensik's also a little bit error prone, so like it's not. I'm not super excited about Mensik. That said, neither are like the bookmakers or the sports books. Like I do think Mensik's live, but I think the market's got this one pretty correct. I'm not super excited to jump on this match.
Yeah,
Um,
sorry,
oh,
I have
go ahead.
thoughts now.
Oh,
Sorry
no
for the delay
problem.
there, guys. Um, so I hear you. I hear that. I think Zverev, in a nutshell, probably does everything a little bit better than Mensik, including serving. Um, Maybe not his net game. His net game's probably not as good. I'll say I think this tournament has been so much a tournament of momentum, tournament of who's playing really well right now. And looking at Menchik's draw, rolled through Juge, beat Navone in a very physical, very difficult match, destroyed Demon, beat Rublev in a match that required quite a bit of mental fortitude to lock in that fifth set, and I think really demonstrated good match play by him. He took a set off there. He took the third set off as a matter of just trying to get a break. Um, the way he beat Fonseca was in my view it was pretty remarkable. I was heavy on Fonseca going into that match and did not expect the serve in return disparity to be so overwhelming, but it was. And here in Roland Garros, Mensik is returning really, 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 really well. He's winning 42% of his return points, which is good for 10th in the entire tournament. Uh, and I think against Zverev, I can just see a world where Zverev gets tight. I can see a world where Mensik takes his shots. And I think that given the way both players have played this tournament and this year, and really, frankly, their careers. I think the number right now it's like what plus 355. It's probably a little long. Um, I don't know. Mensik also keeps the ball low. He doesn't hit with a lot of spin. That ball stays low even on this clay. I think it caused Zverev a lot of problems. It's definitely going to be like a big jump in quality for Zverev, like from what he's faced to date. I think.
I would agree with that. I would agree with that. It's but like I agree. Mensik's playing well, but Zverev is crushed. I mean, basically dominated everybody that's been put in front of him.
Yeah,
Has anybody really great been put in front of him yet? I mean, I guess maybe not really, but that's not really his fault, right? You can only beat the people who are on the schedule. Um,
totally fair.
and it's not his fault that the draw kind of fell apart in front of him. I mean, he's lost one set so far out of 16. He lost, and that was kind of a little bit of a throwaway set to Halis. Um, I mean, do I think Mensik could very well be good for a set? Yeah. I like, and I don't think he's like dead in the water. Like, this isn't like a minus 1,000 kind of match. You know what I mean? But I just don't, yeah. I mean, but I think that, you know, I think it's lined about right. Like, again, something somewhere, I don't know. Yeah. It gets really hard. Like, and obviously, like, this matters a lot in betting, but like a 20 versus 25% chance of winning is, for me, is like so hard to judge. Um, you're literally talking about, like, is this guy, 4 times out of 20 good or 5 times out of 20? Um, yeah, I don't know.
So I have a similar take that Brad does. I think um, Mensik is live, but I think he's going to need some Zverev nerves to kick in because I also think Mensik is going to be nervous himself, to make a first Grand Slam final. So I don't think like you can really factor that in too much with Zverev just because the other side is going to be just as nervous. Um, I also think looking at who's Mensik has beaten in this tournament, I think this is a tough matchup for him because typically like he's played really well against Fonseca and Rublev, who are very offensive-minded guys. And Zverev is trying to be more offensive, but he also doesn't mind playing defense more than those two guys. So I think the fact that Zverev is multidimensional in how he can play his tennis right now, I think that's going to give Mensik a lot of trouble. Um, I'm not going to
Mensik did
win.
roll Demon and Navone.
Yeah, but Demon doesn't have the weaponry necessary on this court combined with his form, so I'm not really weighing that.
And
Like
he
he was
didn't roll
significantly
Navone. He
outplayed.
he beat Navone. He did not roll Navone.
No, no,
Like,
no. That
that
was
was
very
7-6 in the fifth.
very generous use of the word "and" there, but no, he did not roll Navone. You squeaked by Navone.
Yeah, that was a hot day, right? Physicality played a factor, which Navoni kind of has the edge there. So I'm gonna kind of, throw out that match
But
slightly.
I actually think this is an interesting test though for Mensik's physicality because
Yeah.
we see like Alcaraz is the king of this, is like of like wearing guys out because like he's just so much harder to play against him than other players. I think there's something to be said here for Zverev in that respect too. I just think Zverev's a very difficult player to play against physically. Like he's such a
Mhm.
great athlete. He's so tall, so long. Like Mensik's going to have to hit a lot of balls against good balls coming back, especially off the backhand side. Yeah, I mean, I think
Yeah,
so. I think it'll be a test.
and the problem is Mensik doesn't have the backhand advantage here. That's a big issue, right? And also Mensik's serve, if he kicks it out wide or hits a heavy one out wide, it's right in Zverev's slot. He can start the point, and Mensik doesn't necessarily have the advantage. So I just think this is a tough matchup. Like I think nerves are definitely going to play a factor. So if I'm leaning somewhere, I might play some overs. You know,
Good
I
idea.
I really like this prop that Bovada has. It's a Zverev to win and over 33 and a half at plus 140. That's probably what I'm going to be looking at.
I I'll say the one of the last things I'll say, I guess, on the nerves point, I don't think Mensik is going to be nervous. I think he's going to be ready for this opportunity in this moment. I can't think of a single moment in his career really when that's been an issue. I actually think he showed
I think
pretty
if that was going to
remarkable
be an issue, you
resilience.
would have seen it in Miami against Djokovic.
Yeah, against his childhood idol, and he locked in and won that very much on the heels of his serve that week. Um, I don't know. This tournament has been in a lot of ways about who's the bravest. Um, and Mensik has been incredibly brave. Um, and I think in this match, you're right. You're 100% right that he doesn't have the backhand advantage. He's not if he stands in a cross court rally with Zverev on the backhand wing, he's gonna lose the match. But I also have no doubt that Mensik's gonna be the one to take it line first. Um, and I think that general willingness to take control of a point is going to serve him well if it's there. And it shouldn't be there. Zverev should take that away from him, but he's going to absolutely need to do that. And I'm not certain that he will. But I think this is probably the most important match all tournament. It'll probably be more important than the final. Um, I'd love to get your guys' take on this. My thinking is what this means for the next gen of stars if Mensik makes this final over Zverev and what this means for Zverev. Um, I can't imagine Zverev will get another shot like this ever again.
Well, definitely not.
But
The
I mean,
pressure
I
is
go ahead, man.
massive.
You go first. Don't go.
The pressure is massively on Zverev here. I mean, but with Mensik, we talk so much about Fonseca, Tien, Hodar. Like I think there's an argument to be made that Mensik is better than all of them. Like he's freaking 20. He just beat Yannick Sinner this year. He's in the semis here. He's the only one with the Masters 1000 beating Djokovic in the final. Um, I think he has the best serve out of all of them. Arguably has the best backhand out of all of them. So like, and he's only 20. It's not like he's even Cobolli's age. So it's impressive what he's doing. He's just flying kind of under the radar. I feel like the perception of him isn't as good as what the results have been showing. Like he's been excellent.
Well,
Um,
I guess three thoughts on that. So first, yeah, I mean, I think the pressure. I think the path to victory for Mensik here is Vera feeling the pressure. I do think it's the one advantage Mensik will have. Like he's coming in as the underdog. It might be different theoretically if he's coming in as the favorite, where it's like, okay, he should make the final. But in my mind, this is the like nobody's expecting him to win this match. Um, the second point is on the stars. I think it's really interesting because Mensik's career path, like he won Miami kind of out of nowhere, basically off the heels of his serve, and he got relatively lucky to do that. And for a while, like he won that tournament kind of on a fluke, to be honest. And because of that, like his results after that were bad. So I think I think like tennis fans kind of said, "Oh, well, okay, he's really not that good. Look at what he's done the past 9 months." And then he made really big improvements. I really think in the offseason he really improved quite a bit, which good on him. And but like because he was overlapping that Masters title in Miami, like he kind of went under the radar, I think, because of that, because it was like, oh well, like he didn't have like the continuous upward trajectory in his results, because his results maybe were a little inflated in the beginning of last year. And now he's, his like he got some positive variance, let's say first half of last year. He's actually gotten better to kind of offset that. And now finally the results are catching up and exceeding that again. And so I think now he's getting a little bit of another kick in terms of people liking him. Um, I went on for so long there with the first 2 points that I can't remember what the third one was, but it'll come back to me at some point.
How about you, Smooth? Like, you think he's kind of been the forgotten man?
Oh, for sure. For sure. He's easily the forgotten man. It's easy to see why. He doesn't have a forehand like Fonseca. Like nothing in his bag is like Fonseca's forehand that is gonna get 5,000 likes on Twitter, every match or whatever. Um, the results are obviously there, but the results are kind of boring. I was looking at his record right now after Miami. I mean, it's not horrible. It's not great, but it's not horrible. Quarters at Madrid, round of 16 at Rome, eliminated in the first round here by Rocha. Another quarters, but it doesn't matter. I think the reason he's forgotten is because, for what I just said, his game is kind of boring. A lot of people don't know this, but he didn't really come up as like a big ball striker. He came up kind of as a pusher, almost like a Dino Prismic, and then he got really tall and developed the serve, and his game kind of changed. And he's developed. So when you watch him, you're just it's kind of hard to distinguish him from a lot of other players. He doesn't really have anything all that special or all that unique. But I don't know. The results speak for themselves, and the way he played that match against Fonseca was ridiculous. Um, Ridiculous efficiency at the net, ridiculous ability to get to the net. Um, the fact that he was going to the net as much as he was going to the net because of Fonseca's deep ball position, trying to get time to hit that forehand was A, I didn't know he could do that. B, that he did it at that level is ridiculous. Um, I don't know. I think plus 355 is insanely disrespectful with the way he's playing right now. Uh, 5 sets is a long time to give someone with that high of a match IQ to find some answers
But
against a player who's historically offered very, very few questions to their opponent.
but totally different
Um,
matchup against Zverev, who's way less aggressively minded, and a much better mover than Fonseca. So I think yes, he's been impressive and he's improved a lot of parts of the game, and his athleticism really showed in that match against Zhao. But like, I think it's going to have to be at another level, and he's going to have to be more multifaceted. Like Fonseca is great, and he has a lot of potential, and we talked about he's a grade A competitor. I mean, he's 19, tons of time to improve, but he's still a little bit one-dimensional, and he's not nearly as good of a mover as
Yeah.
Zverev is. And I think that discrepancy is going to be the difference here. Also, Mensik, I think a weakness that he needs to improve is being able to be a little bit more aggressive on the forehand side. That side can still be a bit pushy, where if he's tight, he can make a lot of errors.
Well,
Uh,
that's one of the big problems in this matchup, right? Is that like the ideal place to attack Zverev would be forehand to forehand rallies, but that's not like Mensik would
exactly.
probably prefer to go backhand to backhand, and that's not the way against Zverev.
Right. Right.
well, guys, just remember Zverev lost here last year because he couldn't adjust to a drop shot. So, um, I know that Mensik isn't Djokovic by any stretch of the imagination and has thus far not demonstrated an ability to have such a grade A drop shot. But um Zverev is exploitable. You're right that Mensik's gonna have to be multifaceted, but I think he has been. But
But the
um
but the only reason way that Zverev is foldable is if Mensik can put some scoreboard pressure, right? Like if he
yeah.
wins set one and gets up a break and starts puzzling Zverev with his tactics and stuff, that's the time when you're good. But he's going to need to get out to an early lead because I don't know if Mensik has the physicality to turn a match like this around if Zverev is in a winning position.
It's also like, I mean, it's an odd thing with Zverev because it's like he should be able to adjust to a drop shot, Zverev. Like, A, he's had plenty of time in his career to see guys who hit drop shots. B, he's plenty good enough athlete. Like, his net game, he's really improved his net game a lot. Maybe it's not as good as Mensik, and maybe it's not the best on the tour, but he's done a lot of work to improve that part of his game. Like, there's no reason Zverev shouldn't be able to adjust to these sorts of things. It's more a question of does he freeze mentally, which could happen. I mean, I do think like Mensik wins this match some percentage of the time. Like, I don't think Mensik's dead in the water. Just a matter of the percentages. The third thing I was going to bring up when it comes to the I guess you want to call it the underhyping of Mensik. Do we think it's because I was kind of thinking about this in relationship to Teen Fonseca and Hodar now. I think Tien's got a really fun story. Fonseca's got a good personality and a really fantastic game to watch. And Hodar's results has been insane on the clay. His insane, he was 19-4, 19-3. So I can kind of see why Mensik's been forgotten. But where I was going with it, do we think that Mensik's because I do feel like he kind of has a little bit of a lack of personality on the court, and do we feel like that's part of why he's been a little underhyped? Because I feel like lack of personality and lack of story can really cause
a little
some of these
bit,
guys
but
to be.
ironically, I think his game translates better to the other surfaces than
Mensik.
Mensik than all three of those other guys. But yeah, you're probably right. The lack of personality, but he said, I don't even really know. I think I've heard an interview maybe once or twice from him. I don't even know what he sounds like really.
Well, I mean, that's part of the problem, right?
Yeah. But just judging on his tennis, I probably have to put him at one out of all those guys.
Yeah, at this point, it's kind of tough to deny it. The Fonseca, I think, would probably be the obvious contender, but he just beat the daylights out of him. So, almost like he knew that that was going to be our discussion point on this pod. So, I don't know. You're right. You're right, Brad. I think that his lack of an on-court personality is a factor, but that's also because he's just. I think it's just also demonstrative of his maturity. He's just a
yeah. I don't think it's a bad I don't think it's a bad thing from his tennis career perspective. I just don't think it's great for his marketing if he's trying to get endorsements.
No, no, and that's a bigger question. Like the tour, I don't know if it's the tour or his team or whatever needs to do a better job publicizing that if he wants that. But you're right, his tennis is sensational, and he has quite the opportunity to announce himself. Day after tomorrow.
Making a slam final would do wonders for people being able to see his personality because he'll have an on-court interview and all that. So,
I mean, the way he beat Fonseca, the reaction after that was cold. That got people's attention, and he'll never have more people watching him than he will on Friday. So, huge moment. That's why I said I think it's the most important match of the French Open or of Roland Garros because it is a real opportunity to cement yourself in an era and a real opportunity to shut the door on someone else's. And I don't really think we've had that at this stakes thus far, just yet.
Well, I mean, this French Open has presented the opportunity.
I don't know, actually. I think that the Djokovic, if Fonseca had advanced, I think we would have said that about Djokovic Fonseca, right? Would have been we would have said
that's a good point.
Djokovic Fonseca would have been the passing of the torch.
That's probably the right answer, but for me, that's probably the right answer to the casual,
especially with it coming from 2 sets down, too, right? I think the way that played out, I think it's I think if I think if Fonseca, and I think it also depends actually. I don't think we'll be able to say actually right now, right? I think it's going to matter what happens not only in the French Open final, but also over the next 6 to 8 months. If Fonseca continues to make improvements, I think we'll say that was the passing of the torch. I think if he continues to kind of stagnate where he has these amazing days followed by not so amazing days, I think it'll just be another instance of Zhao having a great match, but it just still being an inconsistent player. So I think we'll have to see how it plays out.
But this French Open hasn't just presented a great opportunity to Mensik, right? It's presented a great opportunity from everyone else, and I think I don't know. We can get into the center upset, but I do think it's changed how these other guys are playing,
I
right?
guess just to close the loop on the is this the most important match of the French Open? It's interesting, Smooth, because I think there's like it's a weird one because I think if Mensik wins, it's got an argument to be, but if Zverev wins, then this tournament becomes about the final, it becomes about can Zverev break through.
Correct.
Well,
That
the most important match of this tournament was the center one mob match because
You
that
mean the
yeah,
changed.
center
that's
versus
for
heat?
sure.
The center versus dehydration?
Yeah, that yeah. Well, because that changed the complexity of this tournament. If Sinner was here, these discussions would be a moot point. Like they wouldn't even be worth having.
I mean, in terms of tennis narrative, in terms of impacting the broader macro tennis narrative, not this exact tournament. But you're right.
True.
That was easily the most important event of the tournament. But you're right, Brad. I think that it requires Mensik to win. Um, for me, like the Djokovic Fonseca one, like I gave up hope that 25 was coming a long time ago. I know that we disagree there, but
No, actually, Smooth, I agree with you. I don't
like
think there was
I
much
didn't think
like
he ever had a chance this week.
Smooth. I agree with you. I don't think he really. I would agree with you on that. It's also I would also would say that kind of talk about that because we didn't get a chance to talk about that yet. Like I like I meant more like for a casual fan or like that was a big deal that kind of because it is like that passing the torch moment maybe, but I would say that like we've already seen Fonseca play at an elite level. Like Fonseca doesn't need to prove to me anymore that he has top 10 potential. Like he's proven that and then some. Like what I need to see from Fonseca is I need to see 3 to 4 months of consistently strong play, making quarters and semis, tournament after tournament after tournament. That's what will prove it to me on Fonseca.
Yeah,
Because if you
I
look,
agree.
like, what was he on clay? I'm looking. So he was. If you take out this Roland Garros, Fonseca was 5-4 this year on clay. Not bad losses. Zverev, Shelton, Hodar, Hamad, but still 5-4 for a guy who we're talking about as being a top 10, who's being kicked around as like this top 10 guy. That's not good enough.
yeah. No, you're totally right. I think that's the exact right point. Is that he needs to start putting. I don't want to repeat what you just said exactly, but I think this first 6 months of the season has been spectacular for all of the young guys. I don't really know where everyone sits in the power rankings, but Tien making progress on clay, Fonseca making progress in slams, Hodar existing, um, Mensik doing what he's doing, is providing a lot of hope, and demonstrating what the tour could be if
But
these
then,
guys ever catch
but
up.
then I even go back, like, but then but then like to round out the Mensik discussion, like, I mean, now I'm looking at Mensik this year on clay. He was 3-3 coming into Roland Garros. He beat Dom, Kachanov, and Struff. So really, he's
Yep.
got one real win, like Kachanov, and he lost to Popperin, who's been terrible, and Buthe's been great, but Love and three is
Mhm.
that's not acceptable. So then if you look at Mensik, like you're hanging your hat really on the performance 2 days ago versus Fonseca and saying that like that's what's driving him to the top of the power rankings. So like there's and obviously I mean that's a little bit of a lie. Like a 5-set win over Rublev is good. Demonor's had a really really poor clay season, so like I'm not even sure how excited you get over beating Demonor this year on clay. Like it's it's a weird spot because it just feels like for all these guys, like for specifically, like I put Mensik and Fonseca in kind of similar buckets where like they don't have to show me that they can beat top guys. We've seen it. Mensik's beaten Sinner. He took a set off of Zverev in one of the clay tournaments this year. He he won a Masters 1000 and beating Djokovic in the final. Like he's shown that he can do it at a top level. We just got to see these guys mature a little bit and do it day in day out.
It's ironic because I feel like Mensik and Fonseca have shown the ability to beat top 10 guys, but they haven't shown that consistency. Whereas the opposite is true with Tien and Hodar. They've shown the consistency, but they haven't shown the ability to beat these top 10 guys. So it's like, what do you value more? You know?
Yeah, I guess to talk about Hodar though, like I don't know, man. Like I think like he's shown the ability to certainly be competitive. He hasn't gotten over the hump yet against the top guys, but
Well, Mensik
he's
has, right? And Fonseca
yeah,
has with Djokovic.
We'll see on Friday.
yeah, yeah.
So, but
I
like,
just meant like I wouldn't want to brush Hodar as having not been competitive with those guys. Like Hodar's
it's fair.
been, and also Hodar's been like he's burst on the scene, right? Like this is his first like 3 months as being
Yeah, true.
like a real player, like a real player on the tour. And he took a set off of Feast,
He beat
beat
Fonseca.
Fonseca,
He beat Tien.
beat Tien, took a set off Darderi, almost
Took
took a set
Sinner
off
to a
of
tiebreak.
Sinner.
Yeah.
So like, are we really like what's the
He beat Mickelson.
Mickelson's a big win, man. On
Put some
hot
respect
clay,
on his
hot
name.
clay, Mickelson's a
Put
big
some
win.
respect on his name.
What?
No, I feel like it's too early to say Hodar. Like who is he? He's lost to who? Sinner and Zverev.
Sinner,
Like
Feast,
in
Darderi,
his first
Zverev.
try. Is I think I'll give him.
It's pretty damn good.
He just started. He just started. He did lose to Mensik. Speaking of Mensik, Mensik beat him in straights in the Australian Open. Just a forgotten result, but that seems to be how it goes with
Yeah.
Jakob.
Yeah.
Well, I
Yeah.
mean, it's interesting. Right? Like, I think it's because these guys are all actually. It shows you how even the tour is, like 10 through 30.
Yeah.
That I feel like a couple wins for me too, like bump guys 5-10 spots up the power rankings.
Right.
Yeah. True. All right, let's move on to the second semifinal. Matteo Arnaldi against Flavio Cobolli, the battle of the Italians.
Non-sinner Italians.
Yeah, that's very true. But I think let's touch on Arnaldi's run before we kind of get into the lines. What an incredible run. I mean, he's played, I think, a record amount of tennis leading into a quarterfinal. I think it was like 18 hours and 30 minutes on court with like two 5+ hours matches against Collignon and Tiafoe. Just incredible. He's kind of he's a superior athlete. I think let's start there. I think he's had issues with discipline and kind of point construction in the past, and like, but his athleticism and his fitness have never been in question, right? And he's really showing that, and he's played. I thought the Tiafoe match was actually very high quality. It was an excellent match from start to finish. Um, and it's credit to him that he's taken advantage of the center with heat stroke. So
Also, can we talk a little bit about the heart of Arnaldi? Like to
sure.
come back from 2-1, double breakdown. When he was saying that he was like not when he was actually saying that he was not physically, all there because of what he had put in the previous round, going 5 hours. He went 4 going 5 hours 2 days before that. Like that to me was insane comeback. And a lot of that was Arnaldi. Like Arnaldi all of a sudden started playing out of his mind down 2-1 in a double break. I mean, I think you got to give him credit for that too, just for the heart and hanging in there. I mean, so I just wanted to mention that.
You have to give him some props for digging in down 3-love double break to Berrettini in the first set and coming back to win that set, and that just took the heart out of Berrettini pretty much. I mean, who knows what would have happened physically to him. Uh, but if Berrettini wins that first set, you never know what's going to happen.
It's definitely a different match. Arnaldi's run is insane. It's insane in the context of not only who he's been over his career, which is like a pretty middling player, but in the context of this season. He entered this season losing his first one, two, three, four, five, six tour level matches. He lost to Rublev. He lost in straight sets, 11-1 to Mackenzie McDonald. He lost to Shevchenko on hard. Um, I mean, it was a brutal, brutal start. He's coming off an injury at the end of last year.
That's
It's
and I'm
important to
pretty
clarify.
sure like that was the issue, right? Because I'm
Yep.
pretty sure even in like you could kind of see it even too from like the events he was choosing. Like in the beginning of the year, he was choosing all the big events. And if you look like beginning of the year, doing Australian Open, then Indian Wells, then Miami, and getting beat down by players, to me that shows that you can kind of throw a lot of that early season data. That's not him as a tennis player. That was him collecting paychecks.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. Um, Either way, to have a run like that and then to go play the Cagliari Challenger. Another important fact, he had a Challenger title run right before Roland Garros, where he beat Juanma, he beat Nuno Borges, he beat Hurkacz, he beat sorry, right before Rome. Um, and that really started something, I guess. He lost to Hodar, took a set off of him in Rome, but the fact that he's able to turn around his season and put together these performances is is sensational. I'm
Well,
definitely
I
not
think
rooting
I
for
heard that
Ronaldo.
that was basically, and I mean, obviously the results show it, so now you're going to say it, but I think that's when he said like the injury had subsided enough that he could actually start practicing again.
Nice. Yeah.
Like I think he, like from what I heard, like I don't even know how much he was like doing in like the beginning part of the season, besides literally just showing up, to like major events because his ranking got him in and collecting paychecks.
Yeah. Well, it's good to see that he's healthy and obviously performing at his super top level.
But I mean, I guess going back, like, is
Crazy
it
run.
really super top level, or I mean, like, because if you look at his wins, like the wins: Juanman, Nuno, Hubie, Munar, Demonar, Tsitsipas, Collignon, TFO. Like that's a collection of decent wins. It's nice in terms of number of like solid tour level wins, but none of those guys jump off the page this year to me as even playing at like a top 20 level.
One thing that's impressed me is I feel like he's getting the balance better between when to be offensive and when to play defense, kind of from watching his last two matches. Um, I've always thought he preferred playing aggressive-minded players because he could rely on that defense and athleticism more. Um, but I thought he played Tiafoe very smartly. I thought making that physical was a good tactic for him, and it was just such a back and forth. It was so even. So, but I bet Tiafoe. I thought Tiafoe was the kind of better player going into that. And Arnaldi just stayed tough. I always thought Tsitsipas was a good matchup for him just because like Tsitsipas can only play offense and Arnaldi can just D up. And same with Berrettini today. Collignon to me was a very impressive win. I thought Collignon had a really, really strong clay court season. I think he did really well in challengers. Um, and to come out on top there, being down 2-1 to me was I think that was probably his that and the Tiafo match, but the Cologno match was very, very solid. I actually think he matches up well against Cobolli just because uh he can rely on his defense. It just depends on how fresh he's gonna be. Um
Well, I mean, he should get a little bit of help there, right? Because I mean, he'll only have had played a set and a half of tennis in 3 days.
mhm.
So it shouldn't be like from a physical perspective. Yeah, but I mean, if there's anything I've learned this, I don't know about you guys. If there's anything I've learned this tournament, it's that I have no way of predicting if these guys are going to be physically okay or not. And
It's
I don't know if
tough.
anybody actually does. Like, I feel like you can take a guess, but I feel like it's almost impossible to know. And so much of it is like, I don't know, is how do they sleep or like how do they eat, whatever. Like, I don't know. It feels impossible to predict if these guys are going to be tired or not. I swear. Like,
And the only way you can predict is if Sinner is playing on a hot day. That you can predict.
That's pretty undefeatable. You know,
Yeah.
it's tough to predict. Tell you the more guys invest on their team and in their bodies, the better shape they'll be, obviously. I would expect Arnaldi to be tired going into it. I don't know how much of a factor it'll be unless it goes super deep. But if it goes super deep, um, I mean, this is a ridiculous amount of court time at this juncture.
Now
Do you,
I do
but
not
also,
think
like, do we think that because I mean, just I don't know from my personal playing experience, which again is not ATP level, obviously, but from my personal amateur playing experience, I'll tell you, like, I could play 4 hours on clay and probably be in a lot less pain than 1 hour on a hard court, or maybe 2.5 hours on a hard court. So like, do we think that the fact that this is on clay means like I feel like on clay, like maybe there's more in match, like maybe the in match fatigue is higher because you're playing longer rallies and having to run more and slide more and move, and like the movement's even a little bit more difficult. But the between match, I would actually expect to be a little bit easier because you don't have like the amount of joint pounding that's going to cause like post match like pain and like injury.
that's out of my element.
I tend to agree with you, Brad. I don't think like Berrettini would have been able to last 5 hours and 13 minutes like he did against Comasagna on a hard court, you know. So I tend to agree with you.
It'd be interesting. There's probably a way to look at this and see like number of retirements at the French versus other slams. I'd be curious to it's something I could easily look up, but I didn't even think about it until right now this moment. But it'd be interesting to see.
One thing I wanted to bring up is the top quarter of the draw since Sinner has been eliminated. I really think that these guys know that Sinner's not there, and like all these matches went 5 sets. Berrettini Comasana, Faria Tiafo, Arnaldi Collignon, Tiafo Arnaldi. Um, they all went five. And I just don't think that if Sinner is waiting for these guys in the next round, these guys are digging as deep as they are. Do you guys agree with that? Could you comment?
I think it would be naive to suggest that these guys didn't sense a massive opportunity when he was eliminated from the draw. And I think that's probably not just in this quarter, even though this quarter made it very clear. The Tiafoe match, especially, it's really hard to imagine Arnaldi being physically maybe unfit, digging from 5-1 down. Um, but I think it's reverberated across the whole draw. I wonder
I
if
agree.
Djokovic even got a little tight, up 2 sets to love against Fonseca. I don't mean to take anything away from Joao, but um, I wonder how it's going to affect Zverev against Mensik. And I wonder how it'll affect Cobolli against Arnaldi. But it's
I
it's
think,
looming. You feel it in every match, honestly. Like you
yeah,
feel it even though you can't see it.
Tiafo loses to Jaime Faria of Sinners in that draw. I'm
100%.
convinced. I'm convinced.
I
Straight.
think I think it's I'm going to go somewhere in between. I do think there's an element of guys being tighter. I don't know. Maybe Arnaldi. There might be a few outliers, but I think probably 70% of these guys are going to fight the same, whether or not Sinner's in the draw. Because, like, even making like the third round versus the fourth round of the French Open is what, like 100 points and a couple hundred K in cash, I think. Like, that's pretty important for these guys, especially these guys ranked 50 to 60 in the world. Like, that's a pretty big deal. These are still like, it's a big match to make the fourth round or a quarter versus making the third round. So I don't think these guys are just be folding if they knew Sinner was a round or 2 rounds in front of them. again, you could probably find maybe one or two examples. I think Tiafoe is probably a good call out, Manny, because he's a guy who's who certainly doesn't need the cash and who's probably doesn't care, may or may not care that much specifically about his ranking. But I think for a lot of these guys, like money and points go a long way.
I
do
agree
think
with
there
you. I
might be
think
an element of
Tiafoe
guys
is the
getting tight.
clearest
Like,
example.
what'd you say, Manny?
I think Tiafoe is the most clear example. Like I don't.
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could very well agree with you on that, especially given how low his energy was for 2.5 sets there. I think there might be an element though. I think Smooth. I think the element I wanted to point out was like Cobolli even talked about it, like the how Sinner being out of the draw has gotten these guys a lot very much tightened up, because a lot of these guys do realize, like especially the Cobollis of the world, like this is Cobolli's best chance to ever make a slam final.
To win a slam is his best chance.
Right,
100%.
right, and he actually could win. He could win.
Yes, he could. He beat Zverev already this year.
Yeah,
I actually like him against Zverev. No, I think that they're all thinking about it like the same way we all feel it all season, that it's inevitable that it's Yannick or Carlos, or Yannick and Carlos if they're in the same draw. Like these guys must feel it. These guys are competitors at the end of the day. So I do sense that this was a moment for them. And I do think players are gonna be thinking about it as we approach the moment of greatness. Um, there is gonna be a sense of this is my best chance, and how players adapt to that reality is going to be, I think
Yeah.
very tangible over the next few matches, next two matches.
I
But
100% agree.
I think it's. I mean, this is not a particularly wise thing to say, but it's. I think it's mostly it's by far the most for Zverev.
by far,
Like Zverev, this is it for him. If it doesn't happen now, it's done.
I agree, and I also think weirdly that Mensik is the player, and maybe Arnaldi. I don't know enough about Arnaldi's psyche, but I think Mensik, from everything I know about him, is most likely to take Sinner going out as like, oh my God, like this is my shot. I'm gonna do this as like a boost.
Ooh,
Um,
I
I,
think it's Cobolli.
Ooh, I don't know. We've seen Cobolli get tight before.
Cobolli literally talked about how it's making him tight, so I don't know.
Yeah,
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 this
yeah.
is true, but I think Cobolli has the game that could trouble Zverev more than the other two guys.
For sure.
That's what I'm getting.
Well, I don't know. We'll see. Mensik, yeah, I hear you. Cobolli definitely does. He's a more dynamic defender and more dynamic player in general, but
It's just more aggressively minded, I
than
feel.
Mensik?
No, Cobolli.
Oh, but more aggressive than Mensik?
Uh they're aggressive in different ways.
Yeah.
I think Cobolli
I
is
think when
more in your
Cobolli plays
face.
Zverev, the biggest shot on the court is the Cobolli forehand.
Right.
Zverev's backhand might be better, but Cobolli's forehand, I would say, is bigger as a
Agreed.
weapon.
Agreed. Whereas Mensik doesn't really have anything that's Zverev. Mensik doesn't do anything necessarily better than Zverev does.
But it's
right?
interesting because I'll spin this back another way though, man. Like we've made this joke this whole tournament, like the mentals matter so much. And you can say what you will about that statement, but to me it's become pretty clear the mentals matter a ton.
Mm-hmm.
No
and
doubt.
this tournament has shown that. I mean, we've seen all kinds of crazy mental stuff. Like, I mean, look at the Londa Luthe complete choke job against Wanma in the last 4 points.
That was horrible.
Oh, it's insane how much it matters. It's everything. Best 3 out of 5 tennis, mental edge is massive. And Cobolli's been very good this week mentally.
Cobolli has been very impressive mentally. I thought the game, it was a relative, like, if you're like from a tennis perspective, it was a relatively easy game to close out FAA. But I thought, like, That was a pretty
Impressive.
fantastic game out of Cobolli.
$100%.
That particular 3 minutes to close out such a big match, like from a mental perspective, from a guy who's gotten tight in the past, like I thought he was going to shit his pants, and he completely did not.
The thing with Cobolli is like he has guts. Like even when he's tight, he's gonna go for it. He's not really gonna play passive points. Whereas with Zverev, if he gets tight, he just like becomes like he doesn't go for it. He
Well,
just
and that's the issue, right? Like if Zverev does what he did against FAA at the U.S. Open last year,
yeah,
he could lose to anybody left in this draw. To be honest, even Arnaldi could beat him if he plays like that.
I
So
agree. Yeah, true. It's true. Cobolli's also kind of like in your face, right? He's like he's not afraid of them. Like he doesn't appear afraid of the moment. Plus, I think he has the highest ceiling. I mean, Zverev probably has a higher ceiling, I would say, but of the other three guys, he has the
I
highest
think
ceiling.
Mensik's ceiling is pretty high too.
That's really tough. That's a really tough question. I think that's probably surface dependent. Um,
Well,
Cobolli's best strength, to me at least, is by far his movement. He's
hmm,
an outstanding mover, explosive laterally and vertically, um, super balanced. I think that would probably be the best weapon. That's usually the best weapon on the court against most players, if you consider it that. But in terms of Arnaldi, do you guys think do you think he has any issues with Arnaldi?
Oh, I think he very well could. Yeah, yeah. I mean, ironically, Cobolli, like it's a weird matchup in that, like I think in a lot of ways, Cobolli might just be a better version of Arnaldi in many many ways. But that might almost give Arnaldi a chance. Because like I think Arnaldi's strengths of his game too are his explosiveness, his athleticism, his physicality, which are all the same strengths that Flavio has. And it's a weird matchup because it's ironically like it's similar, I think, to this Zverev Mensik match in that like I think that Cobolli kind of does everything a little bit better than Arnaldi as well. But in the Cobolli Arnaldi match, maybe it actually gives Arnaldi a chance because if Cobolli has a pretty low floor too, and if Cobolli plays down at that floor, Arnaldi can beat him. Whereas in the Zverev Mensik case, it's the assuming Zverev doesn't go off the rails mentally, the floor might not be as low for Zverev. But I do think like ironically, Cobolli Arnaldi in my mind is actually kind of two similar players. But maybe it actually helps Arnaldi. And I think the market's got that like power ranked right, but I might actually put a bet on Arnaldi because I do think there's a chance that Cobolli. I think there's a chance, like from a money line perspective, I think there's a chance Cobolli plays at his floor and then Arnaldi beats him.
Interesting.
who has the lower floor in your opinion, Brad? Cobolli or Arnaldi? Because I think they're both pretty low.
Um, I would say that I think it's hard to say because like the problem is like you would say based on results this year that it's Arnaldi's floor, but I think that's injury related, so I can't really say that's his floor because I don't think that's a true floor. Um, I think their both floors are are pretty poor and it's pretty close, but I also feel like Cobolli's floor is more based on him, whereas Arnaldi's floor is more based on his opponent. I don't know if you'd agree with that or not, Manny.
It's a good take. I didn't think of it that way. Um,
Cobolli's floor is based on like internal and Arnaldi's is external.
That's my thought. Yeah.
That's exactly right. I was gonna say I was like immediate. It was like
Interesting.
Obviously Arnaldi's floor. But then I was like, I've never seen Arnaldi just quit the match. I've definitely seen Flavio just decide I don't want to play anymore and I'm gonna start playing poorly. Um, so that was it's been a while, but I think the way you phrased it is perfectly. It's all self-inflicted for Flavio. But he looks locked in this week, man. He's dropped 2 sets all week, and one of them was the Spada in a tiebreak. So,
And Svida
um,
played honestly, like I mean, Svida
from
played
mind.
real. I actually watched
Yeah.
that match. Svida, like I got. I mean, for a guy who has no idea how to play on clay, and actually, ironically, like he showed in taking a set versus Cobolli that he had no idea how to play on clay. I got to give it to him and his team for like the effort.
100%.
Because he went to like a really high variance strategy, taking balls early, taking massive cuts, and it worked. And was it going to work if he played Cobolli 10 times? No, but it was his only chance to do anything. And he made adjustments and he did something to give himself a chance. And I think that's something we see honestly, like 70% of the tour doesn't doesn't
FAA didn't do it today.
What'd you say?
FAA didn't do it. You just
Well, that's exactly it, right? They don't have the combination of like the guts, and I don't mean even guts from like a not quitting perspective. I mean guts from like a courage perspective to like potentially fall flat on their face.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't have like the combination of the courage and the smarts to go to like a completely different strategy. When they know that it's not working. Like the first two sets of Svita Cobolli, like Svita had no chance.
Right.
And so he went to a completely like a pretty crazy strategy for him because like he's not the biggest hitter to start with, and he was hitting, he was kind of just bombing away. And but it worked for 2 sets. I mean, he got the 4 set to a tiebreak also. So like
that match kind of reminded me of that. I don't know if you remember a long time ago, Medvedev played Djokovic in Cincinnati, and he went for like massive second serves. It's like the first time we've ever seen it, and it worked. Remember that match?
Yeah, I don't remember the match, Manny, but I mean, it would be the same kind of idea. Yeah.
Yeah. And like FAA didn't do any of that. Like he just played the same way for 4 sets.
Well, I think that's been a huge problem in Felix's career, and it's been a huge reason why he
Agreed.
hasn't gone. I mean, and he's in the top 10, so how much can we really complain? But like, he's gonna, and I think maybe it might be part of why he does well on indoor surfaces too. Is that like he's gonna come out, he's gonna do his thing, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, he doesn't.
Yeah, and everyone thought that.
It's usually good enough.
And that's the problem, right? Like, Smooth, you're absolutely right. The problem is he's in the top 10. So how much are we going to complain, right? Like,
yeah.
Indoors, on indoor hard, it's a nightmare. On quick surfaces, the serve +1 is unstoppable. Or unless you're a select few players. I don't know. You're right. It has been a big defining problem of his career. I don't know. I don't know though. Because like, what else is he supposed to do?
Well, no, and that's the problem, right? Like, it's hard to blame these guys. It's why I think it's why I thought it was so interesting to see Svita do what he did, right? Because like so few players do it. And I think you're right, Smooth. It's because like if you're Felix, like why waste time on like developing Plan B and Plan C when like if you have to go to it, it's probably not going to work anyways. And like, you're in the top 10. So like, you don't like, is it worth taking steps backwards to move forwards? Like,
well, doesn't he want to beat the Sinners and the Alcarazes and the Zverevs of the world?
I'm sure he'd like to, but does he want to risk falling out of the top 10 to do that?
Like, what is Felix really going to do that's going to take him to the next level at this point in his career?
He really needs to improve that backhand. The backhand is a liability. He showed it today against Cobolli. As soon as Cobolli got him out wide in the backhand, the court was so open for him to dictate play. He just doesn't hit it well enough consistently.
He has the second. He has like the third loopiest forehand on tour, by spin rate. Believe it or not, it's actually interesting. But
his forehand is very good, but his backhand doesn't do enough to generate fear in opponents. Like Cobolli was going like heavy to the backhand, and he knew he wouldn't be hurt with that shot. You know, and then
it's also Cobolli. I also want to call like Cobolli's. And I don't know, maybe like I feel like I haven't seen him do it that much, but we've seen a few more guys start doing it. It's kind of it's anti-traditional, but serving wider in the court. and I mean like with their serve positioning, like standing wider in the court to actually from like where they serve from in singles, like he was at times he was standing almost out near the singles sideline.
He was
And
really
like
good on
throwing
the
those
ad side.
kickers.
Yeah.
And it was
Sorry,
interesting
go
because
ahead,
it was
Ben.
basically throwing those kickers to Felix's backhand. He may as well have told Felix that kicker to the backhand's coming from where he was standing. And he was just daring Felix to beat him, and he couldn't do it.
Yeah, and the wind kind of brought out Cobolli's floor, I felt, and the roof brought out Cobolli's ceiling, right? Like then he could kind of push his surface advantage and implement all those tactics, right? But ironically, you would think that the wind would help Cobolli and the indoor condition would help Felix, and it was kind of like the reverse of that. I don't know. Do you think how do you think that match would have played out if the roof stayed open?
I mean,
I
I
think it's
don't
hard to
know.
say. I don't know, Smooth, the way you think. I think it's really hard to say.
It's hard to say. I mean, it's like clown town condition. So I almost like don't even like it's almost like I mean it's definitely academic to talk about it, but like I have no idea. Obviously it wasn't looking good for Flavio, but I also think Flavio's I still don't totally understand why the roof closing helped Flavio's game, even though it clearly did help Flavio's game. I personally expected it to help Felix's game. Um, my best indication is my best shot is that Felix isn't so much a spot server as much as he's serve ball really hard and get a short ball to destroy forehand. Whereas Flavio is a spot server, very much so, just as a matter of being smaller and less powered. Um, so on a clay court, that forehand's losing, and especially on Chartier, which is huge. That clay that plus one's losing some of its bite. Flavio's athleticism is giving him time to recover and play back a solid return.
I don't think it's
Um,
about the serve. I think for Flavio, it was more about in like Flavio loves to bomb the ball, especially off the forehand side.
yeah,
And I think the roof closing gave like a it's easier to hit the ball clean coming in, right? I think for me it was more like I think it
Yeah.
was like I think the roof closing helps Flavio's ground game more. And I think that's the difference versus like I think it's probably better for the Felix serve because Felix's serve is such a much more important part of his game, but it's better for the Cobolli ground game. And I also think it's something where probably like on an indoor hard court, specifically a fast indoor hard court. Like if it were like the Australian Open, right? Even though Laver's not even that fast, but just theoretically, if it was like a hard court, like maybe then closing the roof helps Felix more because now the serve becomes more of a weapon. But put on a clay court where the serve is already a little bit neutralized. Now you close the court or you close the roof, and it makes it
Mm.
easier for Cobolli to hit ground strokes.
yeah,
Yeah, definitely.
makes his whole game cleaner. Yeah,
Yeah.
I as for his semifinal though, I think he's gonna roll Arnaldi, but um,
What
I
makes you
can't.
guys think he's that much better of a player, matchup, Arnoldi's physicality, all the above, or Arnoldi being tired, all the above?
A little bit of all the above. I think the I think I hate to say he's just a better tennis player, but um, the way again similar to the Mensik read, the way he's playing right now is ridiculously locked in. I think he's probably playing the second best tennis at the tournament after Zverev, at least to date. Um, he's serving out of his mind. He's winning 78% of his first serve points. He's winning 59% of his second serve points against very, very good players. Um, and I think that in general is just a huge burden for Arnaldi to get through in a best of five with all the miles on his legs. I don't really care that he got a virtual walkover today. Um, I don't know. It would be quite like what about Arnaldi's game is really going to trouble Flavio?
Yeah.
Flavio's more athletic than Arnaldi. He has better forehands. He's more consistent. Like I struggle to find an area where
Yeah, I
Arnold.
think you're right. Smith, you kind of talked me off of betting Arnaldi. I might just stay away. You kind of talked me off it because it kind of goes back to what we said before, right? Like theoretically, I think theoretically this matchup is good for Arnaldi because like he could theoretically draw the floor out, but I think honestly it's more about Flavio not drawing the floor out of himself, and there's nothing this week that says he
Exactly.
will.
Yeah.
Exactly. No, he's insanely locked in. Like Manny, the way, or I forgot who called it out, but the way he closed out Felix
Hmm.
was ridiculous.
Yeah, very impressive.
Very impressive, and like his talent's kind of never been in question. I don't think
Mhm.
he's he's always had a high ceiling, and it seems like he's approaching it right now.
Cobolli has a big advantage on serve. I feel like his serve is just bigger and more potent,
He's got,
right?
he's got an advantage I think in every maybe. I mean, like where does Arnaldi have an advantage?
I would give him the slight movement advantage, but it's slight.
No way, man. So like, you think so? Movement over Cobolli? I think
Arnaldi's a pretty damn good athlete.
I think probably if they were running like I think if they were running like a shuttle drill or something, I'm trying to think like what the right like movement drill is for tennis to show like just foot speed. I think maybe in like a shuttle drill or something, Arnaldi beats Cobolli, but I think that Cobolli's movement is much more explosive,
Hmm.
and I think that's so I think that's kind of in my mind that's the difference.
So when these guys played last year at Roland Garros, they played in the second round. I think it's a sample that we could use. Cobolli won 3-3, 6-1. Um, Arnaldi only won 36% of second serve return points, and he faced 19 break points and lost serve 9 times. So I think it's going to be tough sledding for um, Arnaldi. I'm looking at the lines. I see the -1.5 sets at -130. I think that's going to be a click for me with Cobolli.
I just asking a guy who's played that much tennis to now beat a dude who's winning like 70% of his service points and also has the ground game and return game. It's just that's a big proposition. I mean, Cobolli's dropped 2 sets all week. Um, one to Felix, one to Spada. Sveda. I said that already, but it's gonna be fresh. And I like Cobolli, man. I really do like Cobolli if he gets to the final against Zverev and if Zverev's there. Um, I wish we had a pod. We might have to do a pod to preview the final. Um,
Hmm.
if we find a second, but Cobolli hasn't really utilized it just yet, but he does possess a pretty nasty slice serve. He's been using that kicker all week because it's clay and the clay accentuates the spin. Um, if he can keep the ball low enough against Zverev, I kind of think there's a chance. And he doesn't play with a ton of net clearance. He plays relatively flat, like relatively directly. Um, I don't know. I don't know.
Also,
I,
if he
I think
employs a
he's the best
slice
chance.
serve, that's more that the slice would go to Zverev's forehand.
Yep.
Hmm.
On the due side, yeah, for sure, or on pretty much all attempts. But if he can keep that serve low, I mean, that was like a huge part of his Wimbledon run was that slice serve.
Yeah, I
It
think
won't be near
because
as
like
effective.
low into the forehand is like that's the combination of how you beat Zverev.
Like a down the line backhand, like that's
Yeah, I
super
mean just
flat.
in
Yeah.
general, like low to the backhand's okay too. Like it's really like keeping the ball like what you don't want to do against Zverev is have the ball like waist high or above on the backhand side. You just get killed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I think his back like out of the slot, like I call it the slot, like right like that waist high like strike zone. His
Yeah,
backhand is insane, Zverev. You get it outside of there, even on the backhand side. You make him go low. It's not nearly as good.
yeah,
Yeah, that's why like Lerner Hien is just a terrible matchup for it's a terrible matchup for him against Zverev. It's that forehand cross court does nothing.
yeah.
But
Although did Lerner beat him? Lerner beat him, right?
beat
I mean,
him in
I'm pretty sure Zverev was sick, but did Lerner beat him in Acapulco?
Acapulco. Yeah, that was a sick
That was
match.
a fake win. I agree. Like
Yeah,
Zverev was
yeah,
clearly not right, but yeah,
right.
but yeah.
I just hit Cobolli -1.5 sets at -121 on tailgate.
Let's
Um,
go. Great bet.
so that's my bet there.
I think
So
some of you would say any bet on tailgate is a great bet.
Any bet on tailgate is a great bet. Let me say. Where did you see it out? Where did you see it -130?
Bovada. But then I looked on tailgate and it was better, -121.
Yeah, you take the
So
word slightly out of your mouth, man. I heard it coming.
yeah.
It's way better. No, no. Who do you guys think's gonna? So everyone, are we all on board that we think it's Cobolli?
Yes.
Yeah, and then
Oh, I
you
mean, like,
guys.
are we saying, so you're saying at a pick'em, you would take Cobolli over Zverev?
Oh, no. You mean
No,
for
no,
the
no, no.
tournament or for that Cobolli or Arnaldi match?
For a Cobolli or Arnaldi match.
Cobolli.
You guys convinced me. It can't be Arnaldi.
Yeah.
I'll probably pass. I have a tendency to pass on these types of like big matches. I just think like that, like there's a lot of people who know a lot about tennis, like looking at this match. Um,
Yeah.
I'm probably a pass, but I can't. It can't be Arnaldi for me.
So, who do you think will win the tournament, and who do you want to win the tournament? I'll start with Brad on this one.
I mean, it's not exciting, but if you're asking me who I think is going to win, yeah, it's going to be Zverev.
Zverev,
Like
yeah.
he's a like he has to be a favorite against anybody else remaining, right? Like just
Agreed.
by virtue of
Agreed.
what he's done in his career.
Heavy
Yeah.
favorite.
But who do I want to win is not Zverev. I mean, probably Cobolli or
Arnaldi would be amazing.
yeah, I
He
think
won the
probably Cobolli
tournament.
or Arnaldi. I think the story, honestly, of Arnaldi winning would be incredible. For a guy who's ranked outside the top 100 to win a slam would be insane and pretty cool.
Yeah.
And especially for him coming off of that injury and coming back so quickly, be like a miracle run. That would be cool. I mean, that is so unlikely to happen because even if he does somehow beat Cobolli, I don't see how he gets through the final and wins the final. But I also wouldn't. I also really like Cobolli, man. Like I feel like I end up betting on Cobolli's with the futures every tournament. So yeah, Cobolli was 100 to 1 to make the final.
Wow.
Pre-tournament. I almost took it. I ended up taking the quarter instead. So I cashed that at like I think it was like 9.5 to 1.
Yeah,
but
it's a good price.
But I almost took the 100 to 1.
It's just hard with Sinner being there. It's like,
well, that was the problem, and like
right?
it's almost impossible to cap those prices with Sinner there because like, and I knew in the second week like the problem is you had to get Sinner out in the first 3 rounds.
Right.
So Sinner had to lose to Heat. Like literally the only way Sinner was losing was Heat. So
yeah, you know how I posted that the only threat to Sinner was like those bacteria and viruses. I needed to put one with the sun. So I still got it wrong.
Yeah, but yeah. Dehydration. It should have been like but yeah, that's my answer. So 1-2, I guess Arnaldi. I believe Will's Zverev.
Yeah, I don't want to believe it. He's gonna win, but yeah, I'd have to put my money on him if it was who I think at pick 'em odds. But who I want, I agree with you, Cobolli or Arnaldi. I do like both of those guys. It's fun to watch. Mensik would be fun too, I guess, in a way, but that's just because he beats Zverev in the semis. So, how about you, Smooth?
I'm honestly trying to think who I want to win between Mensik and Cobolli. I do actually think it will be one of them. I don't think Zverev is going to win because I don't think Zverev has made, or at least I don't think he's yet demonstrated a mental adjustment just yet. So
no, I mean he has not. He definitively has not. Like the last slam we saw, he found a way to lose a match to Alcaraz that he should have won 10 times over.
Yeah.
And I don't care what he does outside of slams because the only question left for him is can he mentally keep it together in semis and finals of slams?
So, well, with that support from Brad, I don't think it's going to be Zverev because I think these kids are going to take their chances, and I think they're both playing well enough that when they take their chances, they're going to be rewarded for it. Um,
Uh,
I think they both are extremely smart tennis players. I think Mensik's tennis IQ is maybe in the top five. I
I
know
would
it's like
agree with that.
I know
It's
it's
very high.
that might be crazy for some people to hear, but I might be overreacting to the match against Fonseca, which I think is very clearly the best match of his career. Way better than anything he did in Miami.
Oh, for
Um,
sure, for sure. And that's part of the problem with Mensik, right? Is like when he was winning Miami, like his so far his best moment of his career, everyone knows is a fluke.
right. I
And
don't
I
know if
think
it's a
that
fluke.
How
I
about the
don't know
win
if
against Sinner in Doha?
I still
that's a
think the
good
best
one too.
moment of his career is winning. I think winning Miami and beating Djokovic in a final trumps like beating Sinner in Doha.
I'd agree.
I think Mensik got way better since Miami of last year.
Yeah.
But the biggest moment of his career, I think, has been pretty clearly a fluke. I mean, I think he went like 7-0 in tiebreaks or something like that in that tournament to win
Yeah.
Miami. Like, to me, it was pretty clearly like a lot of things coming together.
He's
And
making
like,
like
good on him, right?
77
Like it's
turns
not like
first.
he's supposed to like give that trophy back. But I'm just saying.
Yeah. I don't know. He's also 10 and 10 against the top 10. He's very good and could do it. So to answer the question, I think I want Mensik to do it, and I think Mensik is going to do it.
Hmm.
Um, I'm trying to cap a Cobolli versus Mensik final in my mind, and I'm having a really hard time even thinking about what that match would look like. But I think that's the final we're
Probably
gonna get.
he if that happened, probably pretty close to pick. Maybe.
I would love to see that final because I do
Yeah.
think I think that would be pretty close to a pick'em final.
Yeah. I
I
Yeah.
agree.
can't
No,
see
I think
that
it's
being
coming.
more than minus 130 plus 110 in either direction.
I agree with
The
that.
performance in the semis is going to be important for that line, which
Well,
is
and
telling,
that's
which
why I
is
would probably
telling.
be picked to Mensik as a slight favorite because at that point, like even if Cobolli wins, like what win does Cobolli have this tournament? FAA? Like is FAA on slow clay really that
Rublev.
much of a win?
Wait.
No, Mensik beat Rublev.
Sorry. You said Cobolli?
For like what
Tien,
is Cobolli's big win this tournament? It's really just the
Tien.
draw fell apart in front of him.
Well, Leonard Tien. Leonard Tien was a good win.
I mean, he played great
He played
there.
great. He played fantastic, and it was a big win because of how he did it and because he ran up the score. But like, is Lerner Tien like a? I mean, what is Lerner Tien a top 20 win on clay, a top 30 win on clay, top 40? Like
Yes. Yes, to all of them, to all of the above. It's
top 20. I
yeah.
don't know if I can put him in
That's a
top 20
topic for
on
another
clay.
pod, but Lerner blew me the F away this clay swing with his
Gotten a lot
improvement.
better. Definitely gotten a lot
That was
better.
crazy. That
Definitely
was a
got a lot
crazy
better.
win.
I'm not saying that. Like, and I would definitely put him in top 40, but like that's the question is like how high would we put him, right? Like
Cobolli beat Zverev in Munich. He beat
I'm
who he
saying at
beat in
Roland Garros. I'm
Madrid.
not saying for the overall swing. Cobolli's
Oh
had a great 3 months. I agree with that. But I'm saying
no,
this tournament, like, because I'm not saying what the line should be. I'm saying like I'm saying you're right in that semi performance is going to move the line. If Mensik has wins over Fonseca and Zverev this tournament, my guess is the market would weight that very heavily.
yeah. Well, it'd definitely be
Great.
an announcement to beat Zverev, but you guys are probably right, and Zverev's probably going to win in straights, and I'm going to be a sad panda. It's probably what's going to happen. I'm going to keep believing though. But no, I mean, like, I really think the winner of this tournament, as it always is a player who's brave, willing to take shots, able to adjust. And I don't think that's Zverev. That's never been
Victory
Zverev.
belongs to the most tenacious, and Zverev has clearly not shown that
It's been
in his
really fun
career.
because not having Sinner in this tournament we've seen that be like the deciding factor in a lot of, and I feel like that's especially true on clay too. Again, where you don't have like the serve plus one that can just rack up points.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
You have to construct points. There's always an answer. And
And you have to decide like because the thing is like if you're playing on grass or fast hard, like first serve you're gonna bomb it. if you get a short ball +1, you're going to bomb it. If you get an unreturned, you win the point. So that's good. Like, there's not a lot of decisions to be made there. On clay, like, when the ball, like, you can't just bomb every shot on clay. So it's not just about, like, going for it. It's about going for it at the right times.
Right. Exactly. It's
And
match
that's what
IQ.
becomes very hard to discern under pressure.
And
Yeah.
Zverev is gonna feel the nerves at some point in the next two matches. Like he's not gonna roll everyone like he has. Or one of these
I
two
mean, you wouldn't
matches are
think,
gonna
because
get
to your point, Manny,
complicated.
like, the Mensik match on Friday is going to be a big step up in quality.
Agreed.
This is not Jesper De Jong here coming out.
Yeah.
Like,
Just yes,
And
pretty.
he played Mensik like he played Mensik in
and
Madrid.
Mensik was a breakup in the third.
He
Was,
was, and
yeah.
then he fell apart
True.
physically, which could
True.
happen.
Could
But
happen. It's true. But he had
but
two. Now they have 2 days off though.
Well, and that's my concern. That's kind of what I was coming back to before. Is like, I do think, like, again, it's just like the only way, like, there's only two ways that Zverev can lose this match. There's only two paths of victory for Mensik. Like, he plays out of his mind, or Zverev falls apart mentally. The thing is like, those two paths are real paths.
are much better than plus 355. I can tell you that much. They're much better than plus 355. The
Yeah,
last
I
time
mean, that may not be false, Smooth. Like, yeah, like, like this Zverev chokes it and falls apart mentally is a massive path.
So Zverev is -200 to win the tournament. Cobolli's +450. Mensik is +650. Arnaldi is 12-1.
dude, Mensik was 20 to 1 before he played Fonseca,
Wow.
which is tough.
Crazy.
But Brad, to your point, it's I'm trying to make the point, but it's a synergy of those factors. It's not just that Zverev breaks down mentally or that Mensik plays out of his mind. It's, does Mensik play well enough to force pressure on Zverev? Does he play well enough to get Zverev thinking about choking?
He needs a good
I,
start.
I don't even think he needs a lead. I just think, like, he needs to keep, like, he might need a lead. A lead would help. But, like, if he's able to push this to a first set tiebreaker, is Zverev thinking about, oh my God, I'm gonna get down a set. What does that mean? And only needs a point. The way Mensik serve, he only needs a point in that situation. So can Mensik make the margin small enough that the pressure creeps into Zverev?
I'd love to see
That's that's
Mensik win a
that's that's how
set.
I'm capping this. That's my general angle on that match.
I think there's a piece of that. I think it's like, I think there's a piece, like, I think that it's maybe, like, I don't know. It's maybe like, I think it's maybe a third that and 2/3 just to Zverev. I think Mensik can impact Zverev's mental status. Like, I agree with that statement, but I don't think, like, Mensik controls it, if that makes sense.
No, he definitely doesn't control it, and that's just 3 points on the probability pie. But it is, like, the time Zverev gets tight is when Zverev is forced to get tight. Djokovic hitting him drop shot after drop shot, and him, like, literally being unable to do anything about it because he's processing that he's losing this match live is an example.
What I'm looking for is like how Zverev played that match against Greek Sport 2 years ago in 2014, 2024, where it went 7-6 in the fifth. Remember that match? And he came out super tight, and it just got super
I mean,
complicated.
I would look at the effort versus FA at the U.S. Open last year for like the nut low for Zverev, like, where
That's
he hit, what,
bad.
three winners, like three forehand winners the entire match. Like, I mean, there is some, like, it's not hard to find low performances for Zverev, or even the Alcaraz. I mean, the Alcaraz match was pathetic, also. Like, not in the overall score line, but in the way that he fell apart at every big moment. Like,
Well, he also fell apart by forcing Alcaraz to tie brace and or like
but
let
it didn't even serve for the match. Like, I mean, so, like,
yeah.
and
Well,
even in
he
the
said he
first two
got he
sets,
said he got
he
tired.
should have won the first. Like, he should have won 5 sets to none against Alcaraz. Like, it's or at least
Yeah.
4 sets to one. Like, it's Like it's
Well, one thing's for
that's the
sure. If
problem. We've
Zverev,
seen every big match for Zverev, we've seen him fall apart. So like,
yeah,
why do we believe that he's not going to do it again?
right. And you know that if he loses, he has the excuses lined up. I'm sure he's coming up with one probably as we speak right now.
Well, that's such the frustrating thing, right? With Zverev is like it's so frustrating because if he just wasn't such a whiner,
Yeah. Yeah.
there's so much to like about the guy. But him being a whiner just trumps all of it.
I know. It's very frustrating. Yep. And that's why we want his slamless drought to continue.
Yeah, if he wins a slam, I'm starting a bubble slam narrative. Just to be prepared.
I mean, honestly, no. I mean, but to be real, like I guess that's a topic. Like I've heard a lot of people say, like, and this is why I shouldn't scroll social media, but unfortunately, I scroll X because it's got some tennis content on it, and because we're pretty active on X. But like, there's a lot. There are multiple people I've seen call this like the heat slam. Like, oh, this doesn't count. I hate that personally. But what do we think about that? Is that a real thing?
No, you beat whoever's in front of you. You know, the Heat got the center. And, I don't think there should be an asterisk because center did compete, in this event. Well, even if he didn't, I guess. I mean, Alcaraz is not competing, but these players don't
Also,
have any
no feast,
control
no
over it.
Musetti, right? Like,
But they don't have any control over that, so it's not their fault, right? Like if you fail a drug test, then okay, I think that could be an asterisk, but like these guys don't control other players' injuries. You just prepare for the moment, and if the moment comes and you take advantage of it, that's good on you. We can like if you're weighing history, you could be like, okay, this slam, was more impressive than another slam, but like that doesn't,
it is funny
you know,
because, Smooth, to your point, if Zverev wins this slam, it will be funny because his slam one will probably be the least impressive slam of anybody that's won one in the past like 20 years.
yeah.
Oh, you beat Quentin Halys and Jesper de Jong. Congratulations. Like I think to your question, it's going to depend who wins. I know that's terrible. It's terrible to say, but like if an Arnaldi wins, it's definitely going to have that vibe to it. If Zverev wins, I do think it's low-key going to have that vibe to it because he has a lot of haters, and it's going to be like right there. Like you needed Sinner to have a heat stroke and Alcaraz to destroy his wrist, and then to play Quentin Halys and Jesper de Jong,
Yeah,
and
but
that's
but
how you
does
win.
like does
I think Smoothie bringing up a point. If Mensik wins this, like
Or Cobolli.
in some ways for tennis, like what's best for tennis is probably for Mensik to win this. Because
Or
if
Cobolli.
Mensik wins this beating Fonseca and Zverev, like if Mensik wins this beating Fonseca, Zverev, Rublev, and Demonor, that's not terrible. It's not the most
That's
impressive slam
insane.
run, but that's at least some legitimate wins.
but could you put Cobolli in that bucket too? Like, okay, if Cobolli wins this, then he might be the young guy that we all talk about. I mean, he's not like as young as these other guys, but like I feel like he's not
But
even
if
put in that
Cobolli wins
discussion.
this, like if Cobolli wins this, the final will be a good win. But beyond that, like what's gonna be like the impressive part of this run if Cobolli wins it for him?
Learning Tien.
But like, is Lerner Tien better than Rublev
Yeah.
on clay yet? Like, I mean, I
No.
think like
No. I guess I'm thinking of it in a different way. Like you're thinking of it in terms of like who wins based on their run. I'm thinking it more of like who wins based on how the tennis community will embrace the narrative around them. So like I think if Zverev wins or if an Arnaldi wins, the thread like the vibe will very much be like, oh, like bubble slam. This is what happens when Sinner and Alcaraz are out.
well, I think it's Zverev. I think you're right, Smith. Like if Zverev wins, people will hate on him because people like to hate on Zverev, and maybe
100%. Yeah. And then
justly so.
But you know,
And
Zverev is going to be taking it to the grave. He's going to be bragging at every press conference that he won the crazy slam.
he should, and he absolutely should. And like if he wins, like I'm personally not going to take anything away from it because, as we all agree, you can only beat who's in front of you, and a slam is a slam. But in terms of like what the narrative is going to be, I
Yeah.
think if it's Arnaldi or Zverev, it's going to be bubble slam, and I think if it's Cobolli or Mensik, it's going to be like embracing
Hmm.
a
I think if
new,
it's
a new
Cobolli,
person.
I think if it's Cobolli, it, it, maybe if it's Cobolli, if it's Cobolli, it's gonna depend on what Cobolli does in the next year or two. Like if Cobolli wins this slam and doesn't back it up on the other surfaces, it's gonna be clay court specialist won a slam because the top players weren't in it.
He's going to be the Gaston Gaudio of this era,
Yeah.
right?
He made quarters at Wimby last year. I wouldn't sleep on
Well,
Fabio. Fabio's not bad.
unless he doesn't do anything else, right? Like
Right.
Gaston Gaudio won the French in 2004, beating Coria in the final. That was the end of his career,
And
right?
to be fair, I don't think it would be like Arnaldi would be the Gaston Gaudio. I don't think Cobolli would
Yeah.
be a Gaston Gaudio. I think he would be at risk of being like more like a Coria.
So if Vachereau, like because if Vachereau won Shanghai without beating Djokovic and like Holger Rune and stuff like that, like would you think differently of that run? Like to
I mean,
put it in
I think
context,
like
like
we all
that's
understand that the Vachereau run was a 1 in a million thing, especially because Vachereau hasn't like he had. I mean, he's been okay. He's been good. He's shown he's an ATP level player, but has he shown he's top 10? No. And I
okay.
kind of think that's where it runs the risk of ending up if Cobolli wins. Whereas if
Hmm.
Mensik wins, I think if Mensik wins, like tennis will embrace him as the new young king.
Okay.
Yeah, they will.
Interesting.
That's true. I think I don't know. Kaboli, we'll see. It is definitely going to set this. It would definitely
It's
set the stage
interesting.
for a
Yeah.
fascinating grass season.
Oh yeah.
And
Well,
I'm
and a
thinking,
fascinating hard season, right? Because that's the problem with Cobolli too, is that like it might not be. I mean, I guess that's an interesting point, Smooth. Like with Cobolli, it might not be as much surface as it is just like again, like his game is such low floor that like we've seen him disappear for months.
Hmm.
Like literally, was it the end of last year where he truly just disappeared, was like
Yeah.
quitting on matches like left and right, and I'm
Yep.
pretty sure he lost. He got crushed by like Duckworth on indoor hard, like
yes.
Yeah.
so like that's
But
gonna be.
the problem is I don't necessarily think whoever wins it necessarily changes the landscape because besides Heat being Sinner's thorn, right? And now I guess a wrist injury for Alcaraz, like what nothing has really proven a changing of the guard here,
No.
right? So I
Not
think
But
until
this
you beat
is
him.
but Mensik, like I'll go back to what Smooth said, like for Mensik,
no,
like Mensik's proven he can compete there. Has Mensik beaten Alcaraz?
no.
Are you sure about
I don't
that?
think
Maybe
so.
I think you're right. I think you're right that he hasn't.
I think it
I
was
think
Lechka that beat him,
Yeah,
not
you're right. You're right.
yeah, not Mensik,
Right.
but I think this is a singular opportunity, which makes it super interesting, but I don't necessarily think it changes the landscape of men's tennis per se.
I'm not. Well, I mean, I guess, man, it depends how you define it. Like, are you these guys overtaking Sinner or Alcaraz? Probably not. And so, if we're going to define the tennis landscape by slam winners, then and you're right that probably most casuals will probably forget about this in 6 months.
Right.
Outside of being like a cool one time thing.
Yeah, do we get a
Um,
95-degree day in London in 4 weeks' time? That
yes.
might change that's more potential to change the landscape of men's tennis than than this.
I don't know. I think it would. I think we would have to start taking Mensik a lot more seriously than we've been taking
Well, we
him.
didn't take him seriously against
I mean, like, I
Fonseca.
guess this is a good way to put it, right? One of Manny's favorite things, like, if Mensik wins this slam, like, like what does he become to win Wimbledon? Well, like outright price. What does his outright price become to win Wimbledon? What does it become to win the U.S. Open? Is it better than like 30 to 1, 40 to 1?
Oh yeah, it'll be better than 30 to 1, 40 to
Yeah,
1.
but
I don't know if it should
I
be.
think that's where it should be. I still think it should be like 30 to
And that's
1.
not really like is that really a serious contender? Like I think we would say from a true tennis fan perspective, yes, it is. But from like a casual perspective, probably not, right?
But I also think there will be a hangover if he does win.
I don't know. Maybe there's a little hangover after my. No, not really. He made quarters of Madrid right after. We'll
Right.
see. He got scraped by Flavio in straight sets last year at Wimbledon. Um, I don't know,
I mean,
but
he's had good results, but like losing to Buse 2-0
No, but I
or
mean
eleven
that's
three
the
is
problem.
like
I mean, Mensik has the same problem as Fonseca, right? Where like he's shown top level ability, but there hasn't been the consistency.
well, it should be a fascinating couple days. Can't wait for Friday. But we'll definitely be back next Wednesday to recap everything. Maybe we can do a finals pod, but might
Yeah.
be tough for me because I have a wedding to attend this weekend. So, but definitely the Wednesday stuff is fantastic. So we hope to continue with it.
100%.
All right. Well, have a good night, guys. Enjoy the rest of the matches. And take care. Thank you,
All
everyone.
right, bye guys.
Thanks, everyone.